Hello, hello, Kingdom citizens, Velocity Banking students, how are you? How's everybody doing? Loyal subscribers, new people, welcome. God bless you. Today we're going to be talking about how to stay disciplined with your money, even in a crisis, right? In the midst of all this stuff, right? 2020 has been a very interesting year so far. A lot of crazy things going on, and I want to keep bringing immense amount of value to you day to day. And I have a special guest with me, my friend and business partner, Kingdom Man, Alex Albaran. We've been friends for more than 2 years now. This guy has helped me since like before day one even started. This guy's been with me for a while. And so I just want to give it to him real quick. I'm going to introduce him. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Mr. Alex, and just what we've been doing so far, what you're doing, what you're working on, and let's get this crowd all pumped up and ready to go.
Absolutely. Sounds great. Well, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. And yeah, Denzel and I met about 2 years ago, something like that. And he was just launching his business. He had the concept of, helping people with velocity banking, helping them with their personal finances. So my background is in marketing and even just business consulting, helping people advertise on Facebook, YouTube, Google, Instagram, and just helping them establish their businesses and grow them. And like I said, we met about 2 years ago, and right when you were starting out in the business, I think right when we started working together, he lost his full-time job, so he really had to get his main business going. And then I'm sure you guys have seen the growth if you've been here since the beginning. He's gone from, in terms of revenue, depending on the month, 0 to 5 figures a month, ranging from different 5 figures per month in revenue. And yeah, he's continuing to grow. So yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Nice, appreciate it, man. So on the board here, I've got some things that I've written out already, just to get this show on the road here. Just telling people, okay, there's a lot of things going on in the marketplace, in the economy.
Hmm.
There's a lot of people that want to do things. There's a lot of people that want to start businesses. They want to change their lives. And with that comes the money factor,
Hmm.
understanding how money works in the 21st century, how they can acquire the knowledge and skills that wealthy people do every single day, the attitudes, the behaviors, the ways of beings, the beliefs, the faiths, their methodology, their way of thinking, all that. And so what I'd like to do is get some tangible things on the board that you have done since day one when it comes to your personal
Hmm.
financial management before you had a business,
Hmm.
when you started a business, and even now to this day when we're, considered very successful young individuals that are running a business, managing it. So I want to get some tangible things on the board, like stuff that you do religiously, and even things that you've maybe learned along the way. And so I'll start things off, and I've got like 6 things on the board where I tell people you got to know your spending habits.
Hmm.
And I'm going to go one by one, and I want to get your insight on it,
Hmm.
and then we'll collaborate that way. So knowing your spending habits is like an insane drain on people's cash flow,
Hmm.
where we don't even know where we're wasting money, where we're spending money, what, wasteful spending, things like that. The way I look at it, it's not a matter of you going on rice and beans, Dave Ramsey mentality. It's a matter of knowing like who you are as a person, how you operate, and when you leave your house, are you thinking about every dollar? Are you are you looking at your bank account, your wallet, and you're saying, okay, before I spend this dollar, is that the best use of my money? Does it solve a temporary pleasure or a long-term benefit that's going to help me grow? One or the other. So I don't even look at it like needs versus wants. I feel like that argument has been preached for so many years, and it just hasn't seemed like it's been clicking for majority of people. Needs versus wants. So rather than putting it that way, I just say, look, you got to know your weakness. And an example that I have is my weakness is in vehicles, right?
Hmm.
Cars. I know that I've always had it in me that I was like, when I get money and I'm financially free, independent, debt free, I am buying the car of my dreams. I'm gonna roll out with that. And here I am now to this day. I said that before when I didn't have the money, right? Today, I've been driving a 2017 Hyundai Tucson
Hmm.
SE standard edition, okay? Bare bones type of vehicle. No power seats,
Hmm.
no automatic, bare bones.
It's comfy.
I,
I've been in it. It's a nice car.
right? It's not bad, right?
Yeah.
So I've been leasing that for 3 years, so longer than I've been in business. My lease expired this month. This month or next month, it expired. So I had to make the decision. I was like, either I'm gonna trade this in, get another lease, and just keep the ball going, or I can buy the car and humble myself, create
Hmm.
some humility here, uh, and look at it long term. Like if I buy the car, yes, it's gonna cost me say 15, 16 grand, but I would have saved maybe 30 to $50,000 over the next 10 years with transferring every 2 to 3 years from lease to lease. Because if I didn't buy my car, I was gonna lease for sure. And I know that I wanted to get a Mustang 2020, the
Hmm.
eco model with the V8. I wanted to
Hmm.
go all out, bells and whistles, right?
Yeah.
Soup to nuts. But I was like, you know what? The payment on that's probably going to be like 450 times 36 months is probably going to be like 16 grand, 15 grand or whatever. Let me just buy my car and let
Hmm.
me just run it to the dirt until the wheels fall off. So, and with my specific car, I believe with the way that I manage and take care of it, that'll last me probably a good 10 years plus,
Hmm.
probably longer than that. And so that's for me. So even it doesn't matter what level you're at, you got to know your spending habits, right? So could you give me an example of like something that you do to avoid wasting? Not necessarily like just spending money, but like
Hmm.
avoiding wasteful habits, or do you have any spending habits that you avoid or deter, or what is the thought process that comes to mind before you make that decision?
Hmm. Gotcha. So I'd say I'm lucky in the sense that I'm a bit robotic when it comes to money, where my mind just doesn't resonate with wasting money. I think that's a testament to my dad with how he raised me, but I just don't spend money on anything I don't need or something that doesn't really make me happy. Like I even sold, I think I said this on the last live stream. I sold my car. It was a 2007 Mazda Speed 6. It was nice, but I found that I just went to Starbucks and back. And the Starbucks is a few minutes away from my house. So I said, okay, let me sell the car. It was paid off, take the money, and then invest into my business and let it grow over time. And like that's just how my mind works, where I don't really care what people think. I don't really I like this jacket, I wear this jacket 7 days a week. I'll wear for the next 6 months. That's just not the way my mind works in terms of spending on wants. Growing up, I never really wanted a huge house or a fancy car or anything like that. So I'd say luckily my mind is robotic in that sense, where I buy food. I don't really go out to eat too much. I don't go to bars. I don't spend money on alcohol, anything like that. So yeah, my expenses are in the hundreds a month, the low hundreds, because of just how simple my lifestyle is.
Bro, did you just say low hundreds?
Yeah, low hundreds. I mean, yeah,
So
because I have food, I have Uber here and there. I do have miscellaneous expenses like this webcam I bought for it's like $40, but it's a business expense. And all my expenses are ran through my business. So if anything, it comes out to less after tax deductions. But yeah, I'd say low hundreds are my monthly expenses.
oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm taking notes here. I'm just writing down what you're saying so that
Hmm.
people can see it and they'll, watch this video again. So far what I heard is you sold your car, which so
Yes.
you realized, okay, this is something I do not need for my
Hmm.
particular situation, my particular environment. Um, I I evaluate my life. I identify, okay, where do I go?
Hmm.
Am I traveling long distances to get to work, or is it a couple minutes away? So with that being said, you sold your car, you live at home still, correct?
Yep. Yes.
So
Hmm.
so we're living at home, we're young individuals. And this is a message to all the millennials that are watching too, because I have some of them on my channel. I know a majority of my clients are like double my age, but
Yeah.
I do attract that younger crowd because they see me, they see people like you, and they see, okay, we're the leaders of the generation here. We're you know, the example, the model to follow, right? So you live at home. That's so much savings right there,
Huge savings. Yes.
right? Mom and mom's not kicking you out, right?
No. Yeah. Because I'm
And
still in school, technically.
cool,
Yeah.
nice. And you're how old?
22.
22. I'm
Yeah.
24. So I still live at home. My mom hasn't kicked me out yet. And the reason behind that, because I know some parents want to kick their kids out.
Yeah.
But see, I made a stronger bond and relationship with my parents where it's like, okay, how can I help them keep growing? And then I stay at home and I don't have to worry about that rent, utility, gas, light, cable, all that stuff. So that's hundreds of dollars redirected cash flow back to you. You don't drive a vehicle, so you don't have to worry about car insurance, gas, a car
No
payment,
repairs, nothing like
repairs,
that.
maintenance, nada. So how do you get around?
Uber.
Uber.
Yeah, Uber. It's probably around 125 a month on an average month. Yeah, 125 a month.
Okay, and this is
Yeah.
interesting because I heard Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary, on Shark Tank, not on Shark Tank, I think on his channel or on like an interview,
I saw that. Yeah.
where he was like, in today's world, having a vehicle almost doesn't even make sense
Yeah.
anymore for people's particular maybe jobs if they're working from home. I mean, how many hundreds of thousands of people in different companies are now working at home permanently? Like companies have adapted where they're like, okay, not only are you gonna not have to come to work, we're gonna 1099 you, most likely, because that's where it's going now. That's gonna alleviate a lot of expenses off businesses, and people need to understand this, the difference, how the tax responsibility is now being thrown on you. So 1099, work from home permanently, a lot of people. And so if I don't have to travel 30, 40 miles per day, then the need for a vehicle now dwindles, especially if I'm a young individual, you know, and I'm not, like you said, you don't go to bars. That's something that you don't need to do. I mean, if you got invited, different story, right? Like
Yeah.
you might go out, okay, but it's not like, oh, I'm supplementing a an insecurity by drinking or going out with friends because I don't know how to be by myself and be productive. And what can you talk about that? About being productive by yourself and not falling into the societal things to do that are what we would call fun things, right? What would you say to
Yeah.
that?
That's a great question. And I feel that people just have to look at it like this. Like if you look at the numbers, most of Americans are overweight generally, not specifying, but generally overweight, unhappy, in debt, and just overall not living their best life, as some say. So that's why if I just look at what everybody else is doing, if anything, I want to do the opposite. I don't want to say, oh, that's what everybody else is doing. Let me do what they're doing. Because I'm like, most people are where I want to be in 5, 10, 50 years. So why would I copy their behavior? That's why I don't really mind, on a Saturday night, sitting at home, working on my business or reading a book or something along those lines, studying stocks, studying annual statements, because that's just what I like to do personally. And I know that it's the opposite of what others are doing generally. And that's why I'm most likely going to get where I want to get to because I'm not just copying their behavior. Just because of, like you said, those societal limitations of just trying to do what everybody else is doing and things like that.
Gotcha. So that leads
Yeah.
to another point about not comparing yourself. So this is another thing I wrote about. The second point I tell people is do not compare yourself to anyone other than yourself, right? Like your yesterday self. How can you improve on your yesterday self to have a better tomorrow, right? Or have an effective today, right? An effective now. So Thoughts on that, like just when you look at other successful individuals on YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
people that you follow, maybe even friends and family, or role models. Let's say like a Gary Vaynerchuk, a Grant Cardone.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at them, the way I do it is I strip the best things about them that I can apply in my particular situation, my particular financial situation and position in life.
Mm-hmm.
I do not try to become them. I try to become their behaviors, their attitudes, their ways of beings, but not them. They're
Mm-hmm.
unique, right? If Grant Cardone likes fast cars, he likes fast cars. Or if he
Yeah.
likes, you know, 1,000 units, okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's what he does. Gary Vaynerchuk, I don't think I've ever seen him wear name brand clothing.
Mm-hmm.
I like name brand clothing, but the way that I purchase name brand clothing is always on cashback. I always get some sort of reward, some sort of discount, some sort of sale. And then on top of that, I try to create affiliate relationships or referral connections with those name brand clothings or things that I normally purchase and get paid to wear it.
Mm.
Like the shirts that I'm wearing right now, like when I record videos now, all I wear is buttercloth shirts.
Mm.
I reached out to them. I said, "Do you have an affiliate program?" They said yes. They sent me the link. I signed up. Boom. So
Mm.
now it's just a matter of time before people are like, "Oh, I like that shirt that he's got on. Maybe I want that." And then there's going to be a link in the description, and it's going to say buttercloth, 25% off, 10% off your first purchase, da da da. And then now I get paid to wear stuff that I like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are your thoughts on, don't compare yourself to others.
Yeah, I think it's a dangerous game. Like you mentioned, once you're looking at people that are 45, 55, even 60, you're looking at their success and saying to yourself, oh, why am I not there? What's wrong with me? Like, why am I not making millions of dollars? And that's where people just have to look at it like, stop comparing yourself to people that are better than you or doing better than you, and stop comparing yourself to people that are doing worse. Just focus on yourself in terms of everything that you can control. Like, because you can't control how well or how bad others do, but you can control how well you do. So that's why if you're comparing yourself to other people too much, you probably have too much time on your hands and you're not investing into yourself, whether it's your wealth, your health, your family. Unless you're spending 16 hours a day on all those three things, you probably have too much time to spare, and you should just be using that time more effectively on yourself instead of looking at others doing better or doing worse. That's how I look at it.
I like that, which leads
Mm-hmm.
to another thing. I'm going to skip over some of the things I wrote here, but
Yeah.
you spoke about time management, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that I had to work on personally, and I'll give everybody an example. Like, for me, before I started my business, I was a gamer, a heavy gamer. Call of Duty, Black Ops, Zombies, Gears of War, Assassin's Creed. I mean, I was like day and night trapped in my room. I'd come home from school or I'd come home from work.
Mm-hmm.
I'd come home from hanging out with friends, or if I was dating someone at the time in high school. I mean, nothing mattered more than video games when I was like in high school. I was just glued. But then when I realized that I had a money issue, that I was in debt, that my family was in debt, and their credit was poor, and they had no assets, nothing to their name, didn't own anything, I started looking and I'm like, whoa, I am, you know, I'm wasting all this time. And other people do this. Netflix, Hulu, the Pandora, the Spotify,
Mm-hmm.
they listen to music all day long. They're just blowing time. And so what are some ways that you time manage yourself, or are there some particular things you have in place to identify,
Mm-hmm.
like, oh crap, I'm wasting time here.
Mm-hmm.
And I do this for myself still to this day. I try to be very disciplined with my time, and that was one of the things that I had to give up. I don't even look at it as a sacrifice. It's just that you come to a point where things no longer matter. So video games just stopped mattering, especially when the money started coming in and I started
Yeah.
making a lot of revenue and started being productive. and bringing value to the marketplace. So, and this is a wake-up call for a lot of men that are 40 and up that play video games all day, all night long, right? Because I noticed the demographic of the age of grown men, husbands, fathers,
Yep.
dads, that are playing video games, wasting time. It is insane.
Hmm.
And they're wondering why they don't have discipline with their money, because first it starts here in the head, and it's a matter of disciplining your household. So before you even get into money, we have to get these attitudes, right? Discipline with your time, discipline with your marriage, discipline with your kids. Do you clean your room? How's your house looking, right? You have a $400,000 mortgage, but the AC needs to be replaced. This isn't working. You don't clean the kitchen, so you got bugs in your house all the time. So what are some tangible tools or things you have in place to manage your time?
Hmm. Great question. And this is a quote from my mentor, so I'm not going to act like it's mine, but it's basically, let's say somebody wants to, like we discussed, go to a bar or go out to watch a UFC fight or just, do something extracurricular. I ask myself, if it's not an instant, like, hell yeah, let's do it, then it's a hell no. I have to be ecstatic about doing anything extracurricular and investing my time in there because it is an investment. Your time is finite on this earth. You can't buy any more of it. You can't make any more of it, especially your youth. So that's why for me, unless it's a hell yeah, like let's do it, like this live stream, you asked me, I'm like, hell yeah, let's do it. It's gonna be great. But if it was anything but that, then it's, no way. So that's kind of how I segment whether I should or should not do things. But in general, before I go into any day, I have it already mapped out hour by hour. So even today, I had business calls earlier today, business calls before this. I have this live stream blocked out. Then I have another call after. Then some things to finish. Then family time. Right? You also do have to schedule those things that seem extracurricular, but are if anything more important than your money. Let's say activities. It's the family. It's the health, eating right, working out, things of that nature. So everything in my 12 to 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. is completely scheduled, hour by hour. So I don't really have time to, like you're saying, play video games or watch some Netflix because that time's already taken by something else more productive. So yeah, that's how I look at my schedule as well. Everything is mapped out, Monday through Sunday.
Love it. Love it.
Hmm.
So the next thing I wrote was repent or change your way of thinking. Now, for me, the word repent means to change your way of thinking, change your mind. That's literally what it means. It's not a religious term, although that's what people would resonate that, relate that to. So what are your thoughts on changing your thinking? Why is it that, or how is it that you operate robotically, right? Or
Hmm.
like, I want to really pick this out. Like, what is the difference between us and the majority of people
Hmm.
that do not operate the way we do? Why is it that we operate this way and they don't? Why is it that they believe we're the weird ones
Hmm.
and they're not? That they're doing what's normal, right? Or what's
Hmm.
socially accepted, right? Throughout society. Like, I can't seem to figure it out. So any thoughts on when I say the word repent, change your thinking?
Hmm.
Am I telling someone to give up, or am I telling someone to improve, restore, regain, reaffirm, tap into power, authority, confidence, wealth, riches, glory, passion, purpose, right? So what are your thoughts on that?
Definitely, that ties a bit into abundance versus scarcity, which I think is somewhat related. But I think in terms of looking at things like how can I change my mindset? How did we get to where we are? I think people expect it to be overnight. Like it's a light switch. They could just turn it on or turn it off. Like, oh, I have an abundance mindset. Now I have a scarcity mindset. To really have that rock solid abundance mindset, like you're mentioning, it has to be done through discipline and consistency. Because I've been literally, I think I had my 4-year anniversary of being an entrepreneur. And just by year 3.5, I really started to hit the results I wanted to hit and hit the goals that I wanted to hit. That's why it took consistency, it took discipline in the first 3 years where I was not making the money I wanted, I wasn't hitting the goals I wanted, to keep going, keep improving. And that then also applies to my mindset, where I didn't just wake up one day and was like, you know what, I'm going to stop playing video games, work out, eat healthy, and do all this. I think it's just over time you start to develop yourself through discipline and consistency, doing the mundane over and over again. And I think that's how I got to where, I'm at. I think you can agree with that as well. It's just consistency. With your channel, you didn't have anybody watching at first. You didn't have any subscribers, no fan base, no Patreon, no support, aside from maybe me, you, and your family that was subscribing. So that's where you still stuck through, right? You still stayed disciplined. You stayed consistent with making the videos. And that's why you're at where you're at now, into the consistency and the discipline. And that's why over time, your mindset changed. It wasn't just, like I said, a light switch where overnight you turned it on and said, you know what, I'm going to start thinking like this now. It took time. So again, consistency and discipline, whether it's with money, making more money, income, health, family, it has to be done through discipline and consistency over a period of time. It's not going to be overnight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So which leads to another point on which I wrote, searching for tools, whether that's physical tools, spiritual tools, or people, as looking at people as tools, right? Like I when I'm talking to my audience and my clients, I'm like, look, I am a tool in your household, right? In your economy. Use me, right? And I look at this with, like, say, for example, the Bible. I look at the Bible as a tool. Like, it is something that I can use. It is a manual for my entire life on how I can operate. Whether someone believes that the tool is right or wrong, at the end of the day, it's still a tool. So when we're looking at YouTube, when we're looking at, Instagram, Facebook, these could look like disadvantages for people because they can't handle it, but we could turn things into tools and use them. So do you have any particular tools regarding money that you use to stay on top of yourself, manage yourself, hold yourself accountable? Or are there particular resources like people, maybe a mastermind community that we don't know about, or some sort of particular financial strategy or concept that you operate by or live by? What are some of those tools? And I'll write it down as you talk.
The funny thing is, I don't think I have any specific tools or anything like that because, like I said, I was just raised, and I'm lucky in that sense, where I was just raised with that mindset of don't spend money that you don't have great credit. Like my dad helped me get a great credit score and taught me these different principles. That's why, for me personally, I don't really, need per se a specific budget spreadsheet or a specific thing to track my expenses or to keep me in check. It's really, like I said, just a robotic thing in my mind where I can tell on the spot whether I need something, whether I want it, whether I should buy it or whether I shouldn't, whether I'm spending too much on Postmates or whether I could spend a little bit more on groceries and, balance it that way. So I think I have an internal clock, sort of an internal way to measure these things versus, let's say, an actual software or tool to do it. So I would just say, like I said, it ties back into my robotic features and abilities in terms of just looking at things in terms of should I buy it, should I not, and simply going from there naturally.
Damn, that's
Yeah.
that's really good. So I just wrote family is a tool.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And
without my dad, I would not be where I'm at in terms of the fact that he taught me about credit. Even when I was like 11 or 10, we'd be at like one of my basketball or baseball games, and he'd say, look at that person. They just got a brand new car. Their wife got a brand new car, and they, might not be able to afford it. Or he's not hating on people. He's just saying, just because somebody has nice things doesn't mean they're actually where you want to be in terms of actually, asset rich, low on debt, things of that nature. So I think it started really when I was young in that sense. And I just always had that mindset of, yeah, that person might be rich. They might be able to actually afford that car or not, or they could be going bankrupt trying to look rich. So that's why I started to really be able to tell the differences and put myself on the side of, oh, I just want to actually have money, not look like I have it. So I definitely, like you're saying, the family was a tool in that sense, because without that, I'd be like, most 22-year-olds without a good financial background, no financial literacy. So yeah.
I see. So
Hmm.
there is we could, I guess, somebody listening to that statement right there
Hmm.
of family,
Hmm.
and I'm gonna debunk this, is they'll say, oh, he was raised with a mom and a dad, so he has the advantage. And I don't look at that as an advantage. I think it's just a way of being. It is a culture.
Hmm.
Like there is a specific culture that Alex's dad and mother and previous family had, and it traveled through the generations. So instead of me saying, oh, Alex has that, Alex has this and that, and I'm going to debunk this because, see,
Hmm.
me, I grew up without a father. I did not have a fatherly figure in my life. I did not have a mother that was financially sound, that was financially stable, paycheck to paycheck, low income, poor, poverty, in debt, whole life, never owned anything, no assets whatsoever. So, how come I made it? Right? What did I have that others claim they don't? Because I can sit with them in that same room and say, listen, you grew up without a mama, without a daddy. What does that mean? Right? That just builds character. The way that I look at that, that's
Hmm.
character building. Okay, you believe you're under an assumption that you are in this environment where you're being oppressed, and that can be true to some circumstances. But how does an individual rise above a circumstance? Could you, which leads me to this last point that I'm going to make, which is paying attention to your words.
Hmm.
I think words are so powerful, especially in the environment that we're in right now with COVID, pandemic, outbreak, riots, institutional racism seems like the trending word right now, racism, and these different words that keep people down, right? So how do you pay attention to your words? How do you operate when you speak to people? Are you always aware? Like I understand that when I'm talking to somebody, I actually have to define things when I talk to
Hmm.
my clients. When I say the word debt, or I say the word money, or I say the word repent, or ways of being, operation, management, like I actually have to explain and define these things because whatever they think money is totally different from my thinking. So it's like we
Hmm.
got two different beliefs here, and we have to figure out, well, beyond who's right and who's wrong, the way I look at it is what is the most effective way for me to conduct myself in the 21st century under the United States government? Is it wise for me to go out and riot? Right? Like I see a bunch of my friends in high school
Hmm.
that are out rioting right now. And I'm like, bro, like, are you a clown and you're recording it? Like, do you know how many jobs you're not going to get? You know how many opportunities you just closed thinking that what you're doing is going to make a difference? In fact, you're probably slowing the process down. So, what would you say to the current environment, paying attention to your words, right?
Hmm.
How do you operate with that? What's your take on that?
Yeah, so I just try to keep everything in terms of, like you're saying, communicating with clients or even just communicating on a live stream like this. I try to keep it as simple as possible, even if it's a generally, complicated concept or, something that I'm trying to explain. Because at the end of the day, my goal isn't to really sound smart or use advanced vocabulary or things like that. I just want to be able to get my concepts across in a very time efficient manner to where anybody could understand it. I want to be able to explain sales funnels and advertising to a fourth grader. Like that's my goal because at the end of the day, even if somebody's just starting out and they're a smart person, they might be illiterate in advertising and sales funnels. So that's why, in general, in terms of words, I just try to keep everything as simple as possible to where anybody can understand the concepts I'm talking about, and hopefully it can have a positive impact on them. But like you mentioned, in terms of the current situation, it's something where at the end of the day, we can only focus on our opportunities ourselves in the sense that are we taking advantage of every single possible opportunity that's being presented to us. And once people start focusing on that in general, it's going to, likely lead to them actually getting where they want to get to, right? Because if they're spending time on Twitter, on Netflix, on Instagram, kind of taking part of the commentary, it's like, look, that's their right. Of course, it's free speech, but are they actually taking advantage of every single possible opportunity, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, of the opportunities that are presented to them? So that's where I think, if, like you mentioned, people focus more on that and themselves and what they can actually control, their desired outcome would be achieved a lot faster.
I like that. So controlling your circumstances, controlling what you can control. There's things that we
Yes.
can't control, and there's so many things that we can.
Yeah.
And if we focus on the things that we can control, then eventually I'm able to make an impact on the things that I may not be able to control by myself, but with a team, with help, with support, then I can start to make change across the world. Then I can start to become an impact in my community, in my environment. So I'm just going to write that down. Just control your environment, right?
Because at the end of the day, you can't help others unless you help yourself. Like, even with you, how many people you've helped with their finances, with their debt situations, things like that. You couldn't help them without helping yourself first by putting out the videos, focusing on growing your business. So again, that's something where you can't make the impact that you're making now without first, years ago when you started, focusing on yourself and what you can control and what you could control at that time. So again, that applies to this situation as well.
Awesome, awesome. So now I think that was solid. That is tangible stuff that people can take home with them and start working on. Maybe they pick one or two of the things. They come back in a couple months and they pick the next two things, the next two things. So and here's something that I think is really important to mention is when you, Alex, are receiving information, knowledge, right? Things that's going to empower you, help you grow, help you improve. How do you digest information? How do you take in, like, a class like this? Let's say we were the audience and there's two other people up and they're talking like the way that we're talking, and kind of go back to that person that didn't have the money, that was, not managing before you had the knowledge. How would someone, what would you say to that person on, okay, here's how you digest this information? That'll be the last question, then we'll go into some Q&A with everybody in the house here.
Okay. Yeah, so in terms of digesting information, I like to focus on execution and taking action versus just storing a lot of information. And I tell you that because a lot of people, they're into reading books and listing the books, and they tell people, oh, I read a book a week or even a book a month. But my main focus with whether it's a book or, like you said, a live stream or a mastermind, anything like that, that's positive information, how can I take that and apply it to my current situation to improve it in real life versus just having all this information that I store and never use? Like these books in the background, I don't know if you guys can see, I don't have tons of books, but every single one of those books I've read, and then I read it again, then I've done a book report on it, and I pulled at least one thing that I then took and executed on in my real life, whether it's health, family, relationships, mental health, mindset, business growth, marketing, etc. I didn't just read it and move on to the next one. I stopped. I said, how can I take this information and execute on it and apply it to my current situation? And until I did that, I did not move on to new information. And I think that's a mistake sometimes people make when just digesting all this information, watching webinars, watching videos, reading books. They don't actually execute on anything. And that's where the real growth happens, in making mistakes and learning from them in real life, in real time.
Yeah, I when I look at information, new things, I try to pull wisdom over information. And then I'm able to execute on that wisdom by taking action.
Exactly.
So let's look at some comments here. So I'm just gonna start putting some things on the board. Hello to Herman and Maria and Wayne. How you doing? Mary says hello. Thanks for the invite. Jacqueline says hi from Georgia. We got Al donated $5. So
Cool.
appreciate that. Thank you, Al. That's super, super nice of you. Thank you so much. Beverly says hi. Let's see. Dave says hello. Let's see. He says, fellas, I'm a little bit older than you two are. And let me say I've blown a lot of money on partying, drinking, hanging out. I only wish I had your mindset when I was your age. So I think that's just I guess a little testimony or statement. And I would say, I would just say for all my clients that are 40, 50, 60, 70, please do not look back into your past and say, oh, I wish I had that. No, 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 you got it right now. You do have it, right? And just because you got it at age 40 and I got it at age 20 does not change the circumstance. I do not believe that. Because I look at it as, look, you have entered the second half, the second quarter of your life if you're 40 or 50 years old. You're in the second quarter. If we're thinking football, the second quarter, we got a whole nother half to go and win the game, right? So you may have start off negative, in debt, behind. The other team is beating you down. But then the second quarter, you come back with all this energy and you're ready to pull a Tom Brady move and win another freaking Super Bowl, right? And it's ridiculous. You're like, how did he pull that one out? So that's my kind of just like quick motivation to those older individuals. Hey, man, gotta just focus on today. We got a good evening from Brian from South Africa. That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, we got Jesus in the house. He's talking about earlier, I think I was talking about 1099. He says if they're going to 1099 people, then it means it's time to start our own business. I would agree with that for tax purposes, totally. Yeah, when it comes to, I think the way the market is moving is towards like 1099. Companies are going to cut back on employees. Everything's going to be performance-based results, like not, wipe the floor, clean this, wash that, do the dishes. Like, I think they're going to start structuring pay based on performance. And if you don't perform, you're gone, right? And the way I look at this whole COVID pandemic, these riots, the shutdown, and curfews, I think these companies were waiting for this to happen. I think the big corporations and institutions, they've been waiting to fire people. They just didn't have a reason to, right? But now they got a reason to. They're going to use this circumstance, this crisis, as an opportunity to get rid of all the people that are not performing, right? And yes, obviously there's companies that are hurting, going out of business and all that good stuff, but I just look at it as a wake-up call. Like, one crisis took you out, like, that goes to show how you've been operating and behaving and managing your money. It's just revealing that you've been living a fluff life. It's fluff, right? You've been propping it up based on debt. You've been using debt, over leveraging yourself too much, and now you got to cut back. And now you got to restrict and conserve because now the banks are restricting. Even these concepts that I teach with velocity banking, infinite banking, I tell people all the time, the velocity banking, the infinite banking is not going to change your life per se. The results that it brings, yes, just like money, it's not going to change your life. It's you first. You coming to the table and identifying first how you're showing up to the table and how you're going to use these tools to not take, not take advantage of the tool, but use it how it's meant to be used and get the results that we need to get so we can move forward. So let's see, let's look at another comment here. Jacqueline says, oh my God, very good education. Another comment says, hey brother, let's see. Jason says, keep teaching, Denzel. Just paid off one of my mortgages and saved over $70,000 in interest. Also killed over $145,000 in debt due to velocity banking, infinite banking. That's sick. Jason Raputo is one of my very first one-on-one clients, since I think the end of 2018. It was this guy's made a big impact. And then, oh my God, he just gave $50.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Jason. One thing I love doing, and I forgot to mention this when it comes to disciplining your money, is giving. How do you feel about giving? Where to give, how to give, um, and putting that into your plan of operation, how you operate. Could you talk a little bit about that? I feel like that is such a hidden key to success,
Hmm.
is giving. And what does it mean to
Exactly.
give, right? Does it mean money, time, effort, patience? I think it means all of it. But having the mindset to give first, like every time. And I
Hmm.
want to be able to give in this live stream today. I want to do something. Maybe we can figure something out today. Like how can we help
Hmm.
certain people that are struggling and they want to work with people like you and myself? So what's your thoughts on that?
Exactly. I agree. It's not just, let's say, giving money, but it's also even giving time. Like when I was first starting out in my business, didn't have a lot of money to give, but I was investing my time into, like, I think we went on a few of the volunteering trips and outreach missions and things like that. And yeah, I did that with my church, even when I didn't have, let's say, money to give. Then once I started making money, I started giving to causes that I care about. So I think it's a matter of obviously looking at what's realistic, right? Based on your situation. If you can't give money, you can always give your time. You can invest your time. And so there's so many great causes, locally around your area. And then once you start making the money and it starts making more sense, you can then just give to causes that you care about because at the end of the day, you don't want to be, Scrooge McDuck sitting on top, top of a whole thing of gold coins and gold money, but then it's just you alone. Like to really fulfill yourself, you do need to give and help others that maybe can't help themselves to a certain extent. So I do feel that that's a big aspect of
Yeah.
just being overall successful, not just making money or saving money, just being a successful human being. It
Mm-hmm.
is giving to those that maybe can't help themselves and could really use your assistance, whether it's time,
Right.
friendship, or money.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. We got a comment from Warren saying, "I'm new to your channel from South Africa. Some things
Hmm.
that's pretty cool. South Africa.
Yeah.
I don't know how to help South Africa just yet. I'm not familiar with the currency over there and
Hmm.
how the banking system works. But he says some things is very difficult here, but I'm currently in a bad place with debt. Can't even qualify for a line of credit. How do I go about getting it?" And I want to get your thoughts on this. On
Hmm.
when I get people like this, even in the U.S. and anywhere, Canada, they're looking for outside stuff first to cure their problem. And that's kind of like going to the bar and drinking or drugs. And what I don't want to have my teaching become, and this is why I'm very strict on this, is when I get stuff like that, I get comments like that from people, I tell people, look, velocity banking, infinite banking, debt snowball, any financial strategy, any tool outside of yourself is not the answer. It has to come from within
Hmm.
first. You have to do pre-game work first. You have to get your attitude down first. You have to get your way of being down first. This is why certain people become clients and others just spectate and
Hmm.
watch from the bench, and they put their hands up and, oh wow, that kid's good. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, velocity banking is great. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I don't do velocity banking, but it looks great. Or
They don't
yeah,
get in the game.
they don't get in the game, right? They don't
Hmm.
play, right? They don't play the game. And so, what's your take when you get clients for your business, for your service, for your product,
Hmm.
that they're like, I want to work with you, I can't afford you, right?
Hmm.
Again, they got to pay attention to the words. Why are they saying can't? Why are they saying afford? They haven't created the possibility of how
Hmm.
can I work with Alex? Like, how can I, what are some things I can do for Alex to get his time? Is that
Hmm.
possible? Is he a giving man? He's a kingdom man. He's an honorable man, a passionate guy about what he does, what he teaches. So like, what would you say to that?
Yeah, I do have clients in that situation where they come into one of my programs and they say, "Oh, the marketplace or Facebook ads don't work, or my niche is too specific," and they blame it on everything else that's outside of their control because they haven't been focusing enough on how can I improve and how can I really take just overall, let's say, my business to the next level. how can I get my product to be better, my service to be better? How can I, improve my marketing? How can I get better at sales? They don't focus on those things. These, few types of clients that you're talking about, everybody has them, and I've had them as well. They just focus on everybody else and what they're doing and the market, and they blame it on everything else besides them. So that's why first in my program, it focuses on letting them know, like, it's your responsibility and it's on you for this to be successful. I can help, of course, I'm there for you, I'm there to support them. But at the end of the day, speaking to a client, it's your job to actually put in the work. It's your job to execute. It's your job to learn and actually end up getting the results you want to get. Because I'm not really a babysitter. I can't force somebody to be motivated and put in the work. And that's where, like you said, it does come from within, not only on the motivation side, but also just the fact that maybe they can, admit, like, hey, I haven't been doing what I need to have been doing to actually see the growth in my business. I need to do better. I can put in more work. I can study more. I can make improvements. I can invest more energy into this. So that is the first step of my program before
Nice.
talking about advertising, marketing, funnel, sales,
Yeah,
things like that.
I like
Because
that.
those are all, like you're saying, those are somewhat external things that won't matter unless they're actually starting with a good foundation mentally and mindset wise.
Yeah, I have like an onboarding process where, the first call I have with someone is like, who are you?
Mm-hmm.
What's your financial goals? How do you operate? What's your current way of living, your current lifestyle? I try to strip all those current stuff so I get to know what I'm dealing with before we start talking Velocity Bank. I mean, I have clients that pay for my full program, but we don't actually start doing velocity banking till like maybe 6 months, 9 months later,
Mm-hmm.
because they just don't get it. They're too stubborn, and it doesn't matter what program they purchase. They have to get the fundamentals down first.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they buy a program, but they don't do the work, and I'm like, okay, every time we have a phone call, like, I'm not going to teach you velocity banking until you know how much money you bring in per month, what you spend, what your debt is, what your cash flow. I don't care how much money you pay me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to teach you the concept because you're going to fail if you cannot tell me your numbers. And I'm willing to say, you know what? You don't need to buy my program right now. No, not for you. Because my failure rate is 0 when it comes to my clientele. Nobody in my program fails. Either they fail themselves because they chose not to do the work. That's totally different. But when someone does the work, does what I say, the success rate is 100%. And I'm like, that's how I like to operate with people, because it's like, either we do it right or not at all. And that's something I got from my stepdad. He's like, do it right or not at all.
Mm.
If you're gonna fix a car, fix it right or not at all. If you're gonna, fix something in the house, you're gonna change the light bulb, you're going to, put some screws in, you're gonna put something together, you put a desk together, do it right or not at all, because you don't want a desk to fall on you and break down, things like that. So let's move along the line here. And by the way, we've had, I think I saw the number was at 95 or 94 people in the house.
Wow.
And I had
That's cool.
predicted before we went live, I was like, I think it was going to go to 70.
Yeah.
So that's super cool that everyone's in the house here. Got another cool statement here. Hidden says, I greatly appreciate and pray for you. I am officially debt free, 25K paid off with no line of credit. See, I love that. I love that. Just has his monthly expenses, no father as well, and mom who passed away, was same as yours. Shift mindset and knowledge. That's why you made it out. Oh, he might be just talking to me. Maybe I misunderstood
Mm-hmm.
that. Then he says pink elephant is the system. It's built to try and keep our people oppressed. Yeah, man.
Mm.
Let's see. Warren says, thanks. What I found is that you have to believe that you will see the light and press towards what you believe. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Modern says, think before you speak. Oh, man. My mom taught me that at a young age. Let's see. Another comment saying, holding yourself accountable, making small changes so you build momentum. And you spoke about that earlier. That's powerful. See, Jacqueline, thank you for so much knowledge. I'm looking for like questions that are pertain to Alex or stuff that we're doing. So if I skip over your comment, forgive me. I don't mean to do that purposely. Let's see, I really enjoy your, Lorianne says, I really enjoy your content, but that last comment, I'm out. You are absolutely entitled to your thoughts on the matter, but you have no right to bring someone to task for how they choose to fight. Oh, okay. So she's talking about probably like the riots and whatnot. Let's see, against the okay, so I can't say that word. Against the atrocities committed against people. Remember what you said, mind your words. Oh yeah, I totally agree with that. You know, that's important because everybody, what would you say? It's a really sensitive time. I'm sure you get this all the time when you're creating your content, where you get people that just they forget, they blow past what the intention of the meeting is, and they're just blindsided by what is happening, what is occurring. Like when it comes to these riots right now, this is affecting everybody. Like this is like between the coronavirus, the pandemic, having to wear a mask, not, you know, businesses shutting down, not being able to go into a restaurant. It's changed everybody's lifestyle, really, and it's only made us made us have more fear against people, and we should not be fearing people. The only fear that we should have is the fear for the Lord, right? We should fear the Lord in all his righteousness and all his works, and allow him to deliver justice to evil, right? But when we conduct ourselves in the environment, and if you want to like talk a little bit about this, just kind of like how have you been avoiding the noise that occurs, like with all the riots and all the things that goes on, like how come you and I are not out there rioting? How come a bunch of our young friends from high school, they didn't think before they went out and destroyed that police vehicle, not knowing that that police vehicle, they own that. That's theirs. The damage that they're causing to businesses, they own that. That's theirs. They pay taxes. Like, what do you think the Democrats and the Republicans are going to do when we get out of this? They're going to raise taxes and keep you even more oppressed and keep you down. And they're going to make it even harder for you to get above the system. Right? It's only going to get harder for those to rise above the system. And so what would you say, because my take on attacking the system, let's say getting justice, right? Like, how do I get justice? Do I just put it up in God's hands and forget about it? Maybe for some things, right? We can turn our cheek for some things. Others, in the Bible, it specifically says that God will, tell us when to fight, when to stand, when to grab our sword, grab our shield and our armor, right? And put on the suit of armor, so God can protect us and we can go out into battle. And there's going to be times that you have to fight. But is there a more effective way to, say, fight for justice, for freedom, for liberty, and, really honing in on our constitutional rights as American citizens? What would you kind of like say to that as we, discuss the topic on discipline with your money? Really, discipline comes from within, on yourself and how you operate.
Gotcha. So that's the thing. Like, I'm not even really too in tune with everything going on in the, macroeconomic situation, or more so in the, political space, because like you're mentioning with eliminating the noise, I just don't have social media. I make a post on Instagram, I delete the app. I go on Twitter, but I only follow specific guys like talking about marketing or advertising or stocks. And that's how like you're saying, I don't really even know too much about the ongoing situation. I know generally there are riots and protests and things like that, but I just like to focus on what I can control. That's why I'm focusing on just following people on Twitter that are talking about business marketing. I go on Instagram, I make a post, I delete the app, and I hop back off. So that's why it kind of, like you're saying, keeps me in my zone and eliminates, sort of the social media commentary or even, picking a side. I just like to stay in line with what I can control.
Dude, I love your attitude, bro. And it's like, this is something that I have to work on myself. because, you know, everyone is preaching their opinion, right? And we, you know, you have an opinion, I have an opinion, we all have opinions.
Yeah.
And man, is it tough to when you see your own people out there, like, and they're just being, you know, with brutality. It's like you want to speak up for them. You want to like say, hey, let's do this. Let's sign a bunch of petitions. Let's go to the heads of let's go to the leaders in each state, in each governmental center, the department center. Let's write notes to the mayor, to the commissioner, to every department politician, have them speak on our behalf. All you got to do is find the power, right, and shift the power back to you. All you got to do is attack the money. You don't attack the things, you have to attack the money. Get to the money, you get the money, you get the power. Once you have the power, you get to make change, right? And then for those that are like, you know what, I don't know what to do, then you're saying, like, I don't even pay attention to it. I gotta focus on what God has me to do here on earth, and how many people can I help to improve their lives? How can they, you know, grow and be effective leaders? So let's keep it going here. We're approaching an hour. I know you said you had 3 hours blocked for this.
Yeah,
so
I have
I'm
tons of time.
not trying to take too much of your time.
Got my liquid ready to go.
I love it. Yeah, what I'd like to do is I like to go through all the comments and give people that spotlight, that recognition, that attention. Hey, I honor you, I love you, I respect you, even if we don't agree, even if you don't like what I do. Where can we find that middle ground where if you're a leader and I'm a leader, how can we find that middle ground, that commonality to get people to the next stage where they're no longer in oppression, slavery, bondage, they got the chains, generational disadvantages with wealth and finances and things like that. How do they rise above it, right? Beat the system at their own game. How do we get people to think that way when it comes to money, when it comes to marketing and attitudes and things like that?
It's a complex question.
It is.
It is very complex, and I think it depends on so many factors. The way somebody grew up, their environment, right? It's not so much just nature versus nurture. It's obviously both, right? Because some people are just born naturally, let's say, you know, with a high IQ, they naturally get some certain advanced concepts, maybe like the stock market and things like that, or they just naturally get money, they get finances, and there are those people. So that's where we have to take all these different factors into account and really just say, you know, everybody has their own individual opinion and individual path. You know, for some people, it's going to take longer than others to really get where they want to get to. And that's where at that point, again, we could just focus on doing as much as we can for ourselves, our health, our wealth, our families, and then go from there in terms of trying to help people get where they want to get to in their, you know, timeline, whether it's earlier than us at our same kind of time or in 10 years from now. So at that point, that's only, you know, the amount of things that I can really focus on and control. Like I mentioned control a lot, but that's all I can really control. It's really trying to help people based on their specific, you know, how they were brought up, their specific situations. That's obviously going to give them maybe a different opinion than me. But again, like you mentioned, it doesn't mean we can't have a good discussion, a good debate. And at the end of the day, I just focus on health, wealth, my family, trying to have all those things functioning at a high level, and then going from there.
Nice. So I was just scrolling through trying to find questions for you. So we got a question from Professor, and this is a person that I had a conversation with, I remember recently. He says, how do you avoid distractions? How do you stay focused? I know you mentioned time management, but what else do you have in place to keep you focused? And I would direct that to you. Anything else that we could kind of just something tangible that we can, is it a notebook? Is it writing? Is it praying? Like,
I have something tangible that your audience is going to hate. They're going to hate me for saying this. Delete your social media applications on your desktop, laptop, and mobile device. That's simple. Because realistically, unless you have a business or unless you're following people on Twitter to learn about specific topics, then what's the actual point of having them? Just ask yourself that question, all of you, and be realistic and be honest. Is it to look at other people, see what they're doing, compare yourself to them and what their lifestyle is? But that's the thing. With social media, we compare, you know, internally our worst with everybody's best. Because that's what social media is. It's a PR machine for individuals trying to show people the best about their life, even though they don't want to tell you that that vacation that they went on was fueled by massive credit card debt. And they're going to go broke trying to look rich on vacation with nice
Damn.
cars that they rented and things like that. So that's why it's kind of a pessimistic view. It is what it is, but
Yeah.
it's real. It's honest.
It's
It's
deep.
realistic.
That's deep. And
Yeah.
I have to testify again to this. This is something that I have struggled with, where I will watch, say for example, there's that big YouTube channel, Project Life Mastery. It's like one of those big financial channels. And I see this guy and he's got the look, he's got the girl, he's got the money, the house, the car. I'm like, and then I look at guys like Chris Crone, and they're
Yeah.
always like walking through their house. He's like, yeah. And Grant Cardone. I have a big problem when it comes to it. Like, I'll go into this rabbit hole where it's like video after video after video. I'm like, I should be editing. I should be getting ready for my next call. I should be reaching out. I should be sending out emails to people that reach out to me. I should be responding to emails. And I'm like, oh my God, like even to this day, making money, doing fine, helping clients, making results, like removing social media, like I'm already trying to figure out another way to do it as you were talking. I was like, oh no, get the delete it, man, damn. But maybe I can create filters, and maybe I can unfollow people, a lot of people, so that I remove all the ridiculous feed that comes in. So maybe there's ways for people that are like, that are not going to delete their social media because
Just not.
they won't listen to you. But some will, and they're going to get massive results.
Yeah.
And then they'll reward themselves by putting the social media back on. But for majority of people, maybe there's filters that we can put in your social media. And I'm sure there's a lot. Like, get rid of all the profanity, all the nudity, all the distraction stuff, right? And the inappropriate content. We can get rid of all that. And then unfollow like literally everybody. Like everybody. And then only follow educational, personal development stuff. And if you just have that pop on your feed, then that's all you'll see. You'll be living in a different matrix, right? All those people that are doing all this stuff right now, they're in the debt matrix. They're stuck. They're in debt. They're oppressed. They're in bondage. They're in slavery, and they don't know how to exit. So they burst out with anger, right? So how do we, being able to tell that person, hey, here you're stuck in this bubble, and I want to pop it for you. I want to get you out of that bubble, and here's how we do it. We have to focus on our personal development, on our manners, on our ways of being, on our attitude, how we respect others, how we conduct ourselves in the environment. And here is the material, the resources that we can learn to move forward with. So that's great, man. That's tough. That's tough love, what you're saying. It's tough love, but hey, it works. You get rid of social media, that's a good way to increase focus. Another thing.
And time, and increase productivity.
Hey,
I mean,
get rid of Netflix.
Look at your settings on your phone if you have an iPhone, and look at your screen time, and see over the course of a week how much time you waste, not invest, not even spend. You're wasting time on Instagram, Facebook, even Twitter, depending on who you follow, TikTok, Snapchat, and Netflix. Six different platforms. Add them up, and that's probably a part-time job for most of you. Not all, but most of you. It's probably around 15 to 20 hours a week. Per week, every single month, every single year. That's literally thousands of hours that are wasted. That could be spent on building a side hustle, getting your money right, putting in the work. If you actually buy one of Denzel's programs, putting in the work to get the end result, eating healthy, meal prepping, working out, spending more time with family. The time is there. It's really how you prioritize different things. Whether, like I said, you want to make more money, get in better shape, eat healthier, the time is there. It just depends on how you look at your day and how methodically you plan it out. So yeah, social media is a big negative in terms of maximizing your time, if it's a part-time job for you.
It's a part-time job. Nice. We got a cool comment by Anthony Henderson. Says, I'm a certified high-performance coach. Do you believe in dialoguing instead of argue, accusations, to see others' perspective. And I mean, that's a simple yes for me.
Hmm.
Dialogue, especially in the 21st century where you have information overload, right? Information overload with a zeal, a yearning of the audience looking for wisdom. There's too much information, not enough wisdom for people to take action on. So it's like, what would you say to that? I totally agree with what he's saying. He's a high
Hmm.
performance coach, so he's got to know some mindset stuff and how to
Hmm.
change people from, say, in this particular environment. There's an effective way to protest, and then there's a ineffective, right?
Hmm.
So when people heard my words, I don't, and we could go back, I don't think I ever said protest. I think I said riot.
Hmm.
There's a difference, and you
Yeah.
got to pay attention to people's words when they talk. It's like, no, 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 I'm not telling you not to stand up for your rights because you're an American citizen. You have to have justice. Correct. But is there an effective way to get that justice that you are entitled to? And when I'm talking to my Christian friends and my Christian clients that are struggling in debt and bondage, yet other people that don't even believe are getting the best results. And
Hmm.
this hurts my heart actually sometimes. Is a lot of my Christian Catholic believer clients are actually performing less than my non-believers. The ones that I'll put them in the non-belief category or just the neutral zone. Like
Hmm.
they're not affiliating themselves with Catholic or Christianity or any religion or any sort of faith. They're just kind of neutral. Man, those people, I don't know how it is that I love it. They're just moving forward. I'm like, they listen to me. I'm like, okay, do this, chunk here, pull from here, make sure
Hmm.
you have a good banking relationship. Before you apply, do X, Y, and Z. Blah, 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 blah. And they do it. And they get the results. But then like my brothers and sisters in Christ, in debt, struggling, credit up to up to their teeth,
Hmm.
backs against the wall. I'm like, what are you doing? You're the one that has the access. It's right there in the book, right? It's just worded differently.
Hmm.
God doesn't say velocity banking, infinite banking. You know what he does say? He says, make friends with the rich because they have your wealth. And when they fail, those riches will get passed on to you. You will reap what they sowed because you made friends with the rich. You learned what they're doing and how they operate. And then here's where Anthony is talking about that dialogue. What can you bring to the table when you're dealing with a situation that you're trying to overcome? How do you get the attention of a rich man, a rich woman, a wealthy minded person that is operating at a super high level? How do you get their attention? You have to expose your gifts, your talents, and your skills. And we get that middle ground, and then we're able to move forward.
Hmm.
Let's see. We got Master Jones says, I do have a question. How do you two just focus on where you are in your business and not what your competition is doing?
Hmm.
I am sure both of your companies have direct competition.
Hmm.
And us young guys, when we start our businesses, like number one, we're young. So we don't have technically experience, like
Hmm.
long. So when you're dealing with a marketing company that has been in business for 10 years, 15 years, and they have a bigger YouTube channel than you, more podcast followers, more money, more resources, more
Hmm.
everything. How do you focus on
Hmm.
that? What would you say?
I'd say in every situation, there's always an edge. Whether, like you're saying, with a more established company that's been around longer, with more years of experience, that's good for them. But what they can't provide is my one-on-one time and energy into every one of my clients. Because they're that big, because they're making so much money, they just literally can't, with any new client, let's say, actually invest their time into them. That's why with my clients, I say, look, this other company might, they might have a great product, they've been around for a long time, But what I can guarantee is they cannot invest the time and energy that I can into your business. And that's what's going to get you from point A to point B. It's that transformation. It's not just videos, it's not just training, it's nothing like that. It's the actual time and energy that I can invest into your particular situation, focusing on your strengths and your weaknesses and getting you where you want to get to. So that's looking at it from a positive perspective. It's like, wow, that sounds like a good pro.
Yeah.
So that's where in any situation, there's always a different way you could look at it. So instead of looking at it as a negative, like, oh, this company's been around longer, they make more money, I say, oh, I have an edge. And that allows me to pitch to clients and say, look, this is what I can offer you. Look, they've been around for a long time, but they cannot offer you what I can offer you in this arena. That's the thing. You can't try to fight them. And this is something I've thought about recently. You can't try to fight somebody like that in their arena. That's the mistake people make. They try to go tit for tat and say, oh, they have 5 years of experience, I have 1. Or they have, this many testimonials, I have this many. And in that battle, you're going to lose. But if you try to pivot and look at what their weaknesses are, that becomes your strength. So in that situation, that's how I look at it. But also, I don't care about my competitors, because my prospects, at the end of the day, for the most part, 95% of the time, don't know of my direct competitors. In our mind, we think they do, but realistically, they don't, for the most part. They don't know about companies that are also offering exactly what I offer, because like I said, we think we have tons of competitors, but realistically, in the space, people who are actually doing well, it's a very, very, very small group.
Small, yeah.
Very small.
It's insane.
And at the end of the day, tying back to it, I can't control what my competitors do or don't do.
Exactly.
So why would I, spend too much time focusing on their business when I could be focusing on mine? So,
yeah. And I wrote have an edge, right?
Yep.
That's the key takeaway from that. And one thing that I do is I actually honor them. So that say the competition, going back to that question, how do we focus on where we're at, and how do you deal with competition? What I did was I was like, okay, I did market research first, and then I discovered what my niche is going to be. When I did the market research, I said, well, I'm doing market research to determine price of my programs, what I'm going to price my programs at, and who are the successful players, who is doing this stuff successfully. And then what I did was, when I made videos, I would shout them out, because for the people that are watching my videos, for that small portion of people, even to this day, 15, almost 16,000 subscribers, every single subscriber I have most likely came from another channel. And maybe to this point in time, like they're organically seeing me for the first time, but majority of my subscribers, almost all of them, came from another successful YouTube channel, whether it was Dave Ramsey, Grant Cardone, Gary Vee, Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, or people in my market industry, my competition, like VIP Financial, Garrett Gunderson, people that are Nelson Nash followers, Valley Investment Club, and Connor J. Wallace. Like, they already had, Mike Adams, they already had the viewers and the subscribers. So if they're watching those people that are those, let's say they got 100,000 subscribers, 200,000 subscribers, how many of them are clients, right, with that channel? Nothing, right? Very, very small amount. They have the authority, they have the viewership. A lot of those people are not going to resonate with that person just because of their, say, the way they dress, right? The way they talk, their accent, right? Maybe they're too cocky. Maybe they come off as too cocky. And then they see a guy like me and they're like, oh, here's the difference. Some people become clients just because I believe in God. I'm like, okay, hey, I'm not gonna make you not buy my program because I do or don't believe. But some people, they move off emotion. So if you're able to tap into the emotion, the psychological factor of a human being on how they purchase a product, and you know your niche, right? My niche is mothers. VIP Financial's niche is most likely not mothers. It's probably higher net worth individuals. So any mom that watches VIP Financial, they're probably not going to make content cater to a mom. But then that mom hits my channel because I was on the recommended videos from VIP, right? Then they hit me and they're like, this guy's talking nothing about moms, everything about moms. There's
Yeah.
everything, every other video he's like mom, keyword mom, help mom, kingdom authority for mom, regain your authority, regain your power, your strength as a woman, and your power and your financial mastery. Oh wow, they tap into that. And then what I do to gain even more followers, first out of respect, not just to gain more followers, but it's out of respect, it's out of love, and just creating that level ground. Instead of me attacking a big financial channel, I just say, hey, because of you, Garrett Gunderson, Matthew Pillmore, Connor J. Wallace, Mike Adams, because of you guys, you inspired me to build my YouTube channel, and here's where I'm at today. Thank you. I honor you. I love you. I respect you. Keep doing what you're doing. Let's keep helping the collective, right? The people. Let's keep helping everybody as a whole move forward. That's how I, tackle that competition, and I love how you do the same, and you keep it going. So let's see what other questions we got here. Fred says, from my experience, you can receive tons of information for free, but at one point or another, you will have to ante up and purchase a program to go to the next level. You agree with that?
Absolutely. Yeah, because there's books out there for $20, $30 that go over sales funnels and marketing and things of that nature. But what those books can't provide that, let's say, my program can, it's that one-on-one hand-holding throughout the entire step of the process from A to Z. And once they run into issues or once they have questions, boom, I'm there to help them. I'm sure you can agree, it's a lot different than just watching a few videos or even reading a few books. It's that personal one-on-one assistance throughout the entire process that really gets somebody where they need to get to. So yeah, that's really where, like he mentioned with the program, it's definitely once somebody's looking to really make a transformation, whether it's with their finances, with their business, they need to level up and take the next step and take the leap.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We got a comment from Fred Bear. Says the thing that people don't realize is the different personalities appeal to different personalities. Competition is not a matter at all. They work with you because they like you. Done. End of that conversation, right? It's like, yep. Let's see. I'm getting a lot of like financial questions and whatnot, so I just want to let my audience know, forgive me if I'm, skipping over your question. Today is about discipline. I want to give Alex the time. If you guys got specific questions for him. Let's see, Anthony, oh, here's a good one. Anthony says, to both of you, does client acquisition and pre-qualifying clients help you grow faster? What would you say to that?
That's a good question, but could you ask him to be more specific? Because I think I can kind of get what he's saying, but if he adds more clarity, I think that would help in my answer.
Yeah. All right. We'll go to something else. Says, Mary says, how can I get Alex's program? Okay, so for those, I think to make the process really easy, in my YouTube description, it says join my private Facebook community. And what I'm trying to do now is like create like a file of resources and like archive it so people know where to go. So anyone that clicks the link to join the Facebook group, you're gonna get subscribed to my newsletter. And by the way, Alex does my newsletter. He does all my email marketing. So I can just say, hey, let's do an email blast where you just share with everybody this live stream that we did, a little sentence or two about who Alex is and what he does and how he's helped Denzel, and the link to get access to the proper page or the most up-to-date information that Alex is working on right now, and the process, the starting steps of how we can get a hold of access to Alex directly. So I think we should do something like that. I think that'll be great. And with that, I want to go into some giving here because I'm not seeing too many more questions here. One just came up by Christina. And what is your time worth? Need somebody that already knows what they're doing. Save your own time, make your money faster, and help others in the process. Yep, love it. And that's really it for the comments. I skipped over a lot on purpose.
Actually, could
Not
you go back to that client acquisition question?
Yeah,
Because I
I'm
want to
waiting
answer
for
it the best I
Anthony.
can. Yeah, I
Yeah,
want to answer it the best I
I'm waiting
can.
for him to
I mean,
comment.
yeah.
The live stream is like 10, 15 seconds behind, so
Oh,
but he
gotcha.
should see
Okay.
it any second here.
Okay.
So I want to do some giving. Um, I want to do something like maybe for people that want to work with you. Maybe we should do like a private, more intimate masterclass, like an hour, and it could be like the pre-qualifications. What do I need to work with Alex? And you think that'd be cool? No charge. They just have to get on my email list, so they get access to that invite, and we'll do like a private live stream, and I want to give to anyone that shows up to that particular live stream. So far, before I start imposing stuff on you, are you cool with doing a private masterclass with me? Another one like this, but more
Yeah.
private, more intimate. Cool, because
Yeah, that sounds cool.
we're gonna weed out all the non-motivated from the motivated, right? The ones that sign up,
Yeah.
because that's
We could do
the
something like you're saying, specifically about, let's
specifically
say,
about
somebody
you,
who like
right?
business, and let's say launching one, understanding if it's the right time, and just going,
Right.
like you're saying, all in depth into the entire pre-qualification process, so that somebody really knows, like,
Yeah.
okay, this is for me. So yeah, that sounds good.
Great. And so, and just for people signing up for that masterclass by clicking the link in the description. It's also in every one of my videos. It's the first one. It says, join my private Facebook community. So they'll get a automated email to join the Facebook group. You're in there, right? You've made a post and you're dropping value. I'll drop the invitation to people's email for that private live stream and the people that are in the private Facebook group already. So you have to get in the private Facebook group, or you just submit your email. That's all you gotta do is drop your email. No obligation. We set up this masterclass for the people that show up live, right? That are there. I wanna gift them my program, my Velocity Banking program, starter course, right? Because this is what we're talking about. This is a discipline with your money. This is starting stages, building a business. I want to give them access to me and my program free of charge. They get a little nice overview of what I do. It's like 90 days, right? So no obligation. They can, let it die after 90 days, or they pay for it, whatever it is. And let's see, maybe during that live stream, or maybe we can do like maybe a series, maybe like a 2-part, and see where it goes from there. And obviously we can edit, strip content, and post it, market it later to people. I think that'd be super valuable. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it sounds
Cool.
good. And maybe
Cool.
we
So
could
they're
even do
getting the
one in
financial.
person once the
Yeah, they're getting
once
the
the
financial
COVID
mindset.
lockdown kind of quiets down. We could do it in person at the studio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I look forward to that.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. So people are already saying, Hin's like, I would love that. They say, appreciate both of you, cool. Still waiting for Anthony to respond. Maybe he tuned out. Let's see. Earl Rice says, Bill Gates used social media. Without social media, I wouldn't found you. Yeah, that's true. So
Yeah.
So Alex is not saying, it's if social media is killing your time, if it's taking away, it's become a part-time job. And yeah, you may be watching Alex and myself, but for how long? 1 hour, 2 videos, and then you're right back to the rabbit hole, looking at all this crazy funny stuff on Instagram, and then all the riots and all the
Facebook.
protests, and you're just getting bombarded with wasteful information that's not going to help you, right? Let's see. Travis says, Alex, how can I set up a email or funnel marketing for finding cash buyers for properties I'm currently looking at acquiring. I need to find buyers and motivated sellers.
It's basically kind of a wholesaling business, it seems like, right? Denzel, have you heard of that or looked into it or no? Because yeah, if from my experience, it sounds like a wholesaling business, which would apply whether using Facebook, Google, or Instagram advertising. And yeah, the process would be very plug and play, where like with what I do, it's not really like I'm reinventing the wheel with every single client. The main strategy is the same in terms of client acquisition. It's just different for every client in terms of who we're targeting and what the offer is. So yeah, it would apply to that type of business.
Gotcha. And I'm a clown. Anthony did respond earlier. I just missed it. So he says, do you pre-qualify your clients by using a questionnaire or accept clients for training or consulting before moving forward?
I think it depends on the offer. It depends on the price point, where I do have other offers that are a bit more in the mid-ticket range, where somebody could, after all the information I provide on like a sales page, and I even have videos on the sales page, they can make that decision. But for some of my higher ticket programs and services, I definitely, like you're saying, need them to fill out a questionnaire, need to get on the phone with them just to make sure that they're a good fit for it and the investment is the right timing for them. Because most of the people I talk to want to join and it's a great fit. It's just a matter of getting the timing right. So that's where for a higher ticket service and program that I offer, I do, like you're saying, ask for that questionnaire to be filled out, look through the answers, have them get on a call and really sift through and see if it's a great fit. And if it's a great fit, then we can move forward from there. But yeah, I wouldn't want somebody buying a high ticket program without at least speaking with me first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, and his follow-up question was, how do you make them not, BS your time and make them disciplined for your goals and their goals? And I'll just say briefly the way that I operate, and I kind of sift through all the emails that I get and all the questions and forms and things like that is, I have like Alex done that for me, right? We do we have an automation, right? Where I have people that are brand spanking new. They watch 2 videos and then they like immediately took action. They're like, I got to reach out to this guy. I got to talk to this guy. One of 2 things is going to happen. They're going to reach out by submitting a contact form, and then they do nothing, right? I respond with automatic emails. I say, hey, please watch this, check this out. Here's my course, here's my information. Have any questions? Let me know. People are going to do that, right? And then one of 2 things is going to happen again. Either they're going to respond with more questions, I respond back to them, and then they sign up, or from day one, someone's just gonna see the video, boom, bam, boom, bye, done, and I'm working with them. I love those kind of people. And then the ones that have little extra questions here and there, and they sign up for the program. But for everybody else that's looking for a free lunch, which doesn't exist, everybody else is just wanting to waste your time and ask, oh, how did you come across this, and how'd you do that, and oh my God, I'm struggling, Denzel. I'm this, I'm that. I'm broke. I'm Hispanic. I'm a Latino, and my mom never taught me this, and my dad never did this, and Daddy wasn't there. All this stuff, right? Rather than approaching it, again, paying attention to your words. I look at people's words and emails, and I'm like, they're not ready. It doesn't matter what I say to them. It's like they're not going to take the action, because even if I gave it to them for free, they wouldn't do it. And I have the stats to prove it. I can go into my program and look at all the people I've given the program for free. And so many of them watched maybe 1 or 2 videos, bro. I'm like, oh my God, it's like, why give, But
they're not committed because they didn't put anything up for it. So that's why. But when somebody pays, even let's say a few $1,000s for a program, like they're committed, they're invested into it literally. So that's why they're more likely to actually invest their time and energy into going through it. So that's why charging even let's say a mid or high ticket price is going to actually get you better qualified clients who are more committed. in that sense.
Yeah, and I do
Mm-hmm.
I do stupid stuff. Like I try to test people's like attitudes and their
Mm-hmm.
behavior. And I'm like, I dare you to watch this video. Because if they were to watch that 2-hour video, I have them do something which gives them access to a program or service or something like that. But they'll never do that, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Or I'll have, I got my Patreon page still to this day where can you give $10? Can you give $1? $3?
Mm-hmm.
And who knows? Go back to school, right? Where it's like, hey, maybe write a 500-word essay. I mean, how do you get the attention of a wealthy, rich-minded person? Like, how else? Like, you gotta think outside the box, like beyond what that person, us, is providing to them of resources, free content, the process, right? Let's say they're doing all that, but they generally cannot afford the program. They're just not ready, and they're looking for that. I don't know. They just want to hear a voice one on one. I know a lot of people are like that. They just want to hear your voice, and that's cool. And that's why I do these live streams. I'm like, look, I'm here right now. Let's go, or I'll do, I'll just think of ways like to be creative. Even to this day, I try to, when I reach out to people that are above my level, dude, I'm gonna hand write a letter and send it to your place of business. I'm going to send you an email. I'm not going to bombard you. I'm going to comment on all your videos and like your videos. And I'm just going to do things that I can do to give to that person so that they can give me their time,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And even if I did all those things and they still don't reach out to me, hey, you shouldn't quit, right? You can either look somewhere else, right? And eventually you're going to find the person that's going to want to mentor you, coach you, and help build you up along the way. And I think that's why we do the things that we do here. So let's see. Yeah, so Anthony says, thank you both for your time. I value and appreciate what you bring. Martin says, Denzel, you are a blessing. You are more of a blessing than you think you are. Appreciate that. And then Hidden says, I use free stuff and have notes and studied it. I didn't invest, LOL. LOL, people always want free stuff and don't want to put in work. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, there's a difference, right? Like, I remember when I had no cash, like, I did all the work that the leader, the person that was in authority talking to me through the videos, that was telling me to do. And I did it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saved my money. I cut back. I got my attitude, gratitude, giving in line. I got myself prepared. And then maybe I bought an entry level program of that person. Say a guy like Grant Cardone. I buy his book. I read his book. I do what the book says. I get results. Right? Like literally, I've never had Grant Cardone coach me personally one-on-one. But with all the programs and books that I bought from him, went from 0 to now 400,000 plus in revenue to
Mm-hmm.
date, in a 2-year time frame. Now it's not just him, it's guys like Gary Vaynerchuk and Tony Robbins and others, Miles Monroe, and people like you that are in the line, right? You, Alex, have been the backbone technically
Mm-hmm.
of, you've been the person that has allowed me to get the money from people. You made it possible with the
Mm-hmm.
links and the emails and the automations and the follow-up and the sales landing pages and the website, and look where we're at today, just like really, really providing so much value to people, and
Mm-hmm.
I love it. And I guess we can close out here. This is pretty much it. I think there's one more. Mark says amen. Travis says, you completely changed the way I look at my finances. I've been following since November 18, paid for the lifetime membership because I want you on my team when I need it. Yep, perfect.
Nice.
And he was the one asking about the wholesaling business, and you
Yeah.
gave some value on that. And Anthony says, from our coaching, we always ask this among contributors: how can you help build, create, collaborate, or promote with you? Yep, that's powerful. So if people wanted to like collaborate with you, I guess we'll just finish off with telling people over again, hey, if you click the link below, there's no obligation. You'll get an invitation to my private Facebook group. Alex is
Mm-hmm.
in there. and we're going to set up a master class. Maybe a week or two from now, we'll schedule out, and we'll dive deeper. We'll pick up where we left off here, and we'll just keep diving deeper and going and moving forward. Sound good? Sounds good. Cool. Any last words, Senor? Anything you
No,
want to
that's
leave
it.
us with?
It's
This is
been a great
powerful.
live stream. I'm glad we got to discuss not specifically like personal finance or even business, more so today, like you mentioned, discipline, mindset, and things like that. So yeah, I think it was a great live stream, and I'm excited for the next one.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, God bless you. Thank you for your time. Thank you, everyone else, for watching. And talk to everybody soon. We'll keep this going.
Yeah, will do. Sounds good.
Awesome.